I'm sure you can argue with me that abs are literally the most aesthetic muscle group in your body. Whenever you go to the beach or take your shirt off, it grabs literally everyone's attention. Today in this video, I'm not gonna talk about any bullshit related to doing a lot of Russian twists or some cardio-ass movements in order to get them. What you really need is just 2 movements. Right fam, you heard me right. Only 2 movements and that's it. Nothing else. Without further ado, let's get into it. Although I gotta confess, it is absolutely true that no matter how hard you're gonna train your abs, if you are fat or have a lot of overweight, you're gonna have a hard time seeing your abdominal muscles. That's just one thing that everyone talks about and it's actually true. I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's kind of like a duh moment. So if you want to get abs, the first thing that you actually gotta work on is losing as much weight as possible. Try to like cut down to the point when you're actually skinny. Let's get this out of the way. For you, in order to see your abs, you gotta first lose weight. Alright, so how do you actually get your abs to pop? Well, certainly by not doing Russian twists, planks, or any of that bullshit. Let me explain. You see, the problem is that in order for your muscle to grow, it has to be stretched in a lengthened position and actually has to have some pressure on it. Literally the same way you're training your bicep or any other muscle group in your body. The most, let's say, anabolic growth happens when it's stressed in a stretched position. By doing all of those high explosive movements, you're not really putting any tension on your core, maybe just slightly a little bit, and you're doing shit ton a lot of reps, meaning it's too easy for you. And second thing, instead of actually building your core strength and its appearance, you're concentrating on burning a little bit more fat, which can sound as a benefit, but on the other hand, such things as a treadmill or any other form of cardio will be much more efficient than those overstimulated high explosive movements for your abs. Alright, so how do we actually train our abs? Well, as I already mentioned before, since it's literally the same muscle group as any other in your body, you gotta treat it the same way, which means we're only gonna pick 2 exercises. The first one will concentrate on the upper part of your core and the last one on your lower. Alright, so the first exercise on our list is going to be cable crunch. What you wanna do first is set the cable height slightly above your shoulder level. Then, here's the important part. Instead of using a rope as you would do in a normal version of that exercise, you gotta find a straight bar. We do that in order to prevent muscle fatigue, particularly your grip from getting tired by holding the rope. Trust me, this switch is crucial. With a straight bar, grip strength itself is just stronger. It lets you do more reps and thus actually putting the limiter factor on your abs instead of your grip strength, which lets you isolate and cause as much growth in your abdominal muscles as possible. What you want to do next is get a few steps back, get on your knees holding your hands behind your head and start performing the motion. But be careful, here you gotta pay attention to the mistake that you have to avoid. You see what most people do? When they start performing the movement, they start crunching their lower back together with their belly. And that's wrong because that shifts the tension from your abs onto your lower back and isolates the wrong muscle. What you gotta do instead is fix your back, don't move it at all, lock it in one position and perform the crunch with your belly. Concentrate on bending your belly, nothing else. As always, explosively at the beginning and with control on the way back. Stick to the rep range from 8 to 15 reps, progressive overload throughout the time. So let's say you're doing a certain weight for 8 reps, you do it for a while, once you get to 15, you up the weight and you repeat the entire technique, cycle, whatever you want to call it again. Trust me, when you'll be able to crunch 100 pounds for 15 reps, you'll certainly be able to see the upper set of your abs. Alright, moving on to the second exercise on our list, which is going to be leg raise. This one has a way simpler technique than cable crunch. What you want to do is hang on the bar, pull your shoulder blades down to prevent swinging, and start raising your legs. Most of you will experience some hardship with raising your legs all the way to the bar. So what you want to do first is just bend your legs and raise them all the way up to your hip level. Once you get more advanced with it and you can do 15 reps with a smooth and controlled technique, you can now straighten your legs and try again, raise them to the hip level. Once you train yourself hard enough and you feel pretty comfortable already doing that, that's when you can try already bringing the legs all the way up so it touches the bar. Trust me, once you'll be able to do that for 15 repetitions, undoubtedly you'll be able to see your lower abs, which will get you to look like a Greek god, since this shit is just, it looks incredible on everyone. Literally having lower abs is just, bro, I'm not gonna say anything. You know what I'm talking about. Alright fam, I really appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. If you really enjoyed it, please do not hesitate to like the video and subscribe to this channel. Such support would be extremely helpful since I'm just starting out. Additionally, if you would like me to make a video on something that you're curious about, you're more than welcome to let me know down in the comments. As always, stay safe, love y'all, and I'll see you in the next video.